Hey guys, what's going on? This is Jugs and I welcome you to another installment of my How to Play the Scout Guide series. In this episode we're going to be going over survival and patience, and these are the two most important traits that a scout can have. The only other trait that's even comparable is probably movement, but this goes hand in hand with the scout's movement anyways. Aiming, not nearly as important. Aiming improves your efficiency at killing, but your role as a scout is not necessarily to always be a slayer. You can be if you understand how to be patient and how to pick the opportunities that you're presented with, but that comes second. Obviously that comes after you've learned how to stay alive, and so that's what we're going to tackle in this episode. Now, first of all, you want to understand that YouTube videos can be very misleading. My videos as well as other people's videos, it's very misleading. We show you guys when we get a ton of kills, we show you guys when everything is fast paced and extremely exciting, but it's not always going to be that way as a scout. A lot of times you're going to find that you can only pick off spies, or you can only pick off snipers or pyros or medics, but you know, it really just depends on what the enemy team is giving you and what your team is allowing you to do. If your team is extremely terrible, you might find that you're pinned up at your home base and you're not even allowed to leave the gate, and there's nothing you can do as a scout there. In that situation, you should probably change classes to a medic or a heavy. You're not always going to be able to force the scout, and when you are the scout, you're not always going to be able to force situations to go the way you want them. And that's where we make mistakes most of the time, is when we see a bunch of enemies and we've gone away with it before killing the entire lot, and we expect that to happen more than it should. And instead of, you know, running away or finding a different route, we often just jump in there and start spraying at everyone and hoping that everyone dies, and when it doesn't go our way, we get really frustrated and we force it again, and then we rage quit and we're just really unsuccessful scouts. And we need to really redefine what makes a successful life. If you don't necessarily go 10-1 in one particular life, that's okay. Did you get more kills than you did deaths? Even then, did you manage to make captures? Did you manage to make defenses or dominations, or take out critical, like, key players on the enemy team, or help someone on your team progress to get into a position where they're more effective? You need to assess these things, and when you learn how to redefine what's successful in a life, you really start to grow a patience. And even when things don't go your way necessarily in a kill death kind of, you know, respect, you're still happy with a life, and that grants you the patience you need to be more successful in the next life. To reiterate, you need to really understand what the enemy team is giving you. Every map, every game type makes you play the scout a different way than before. Sometimes there's going to be a sentry, you're not going to be allowed to go that way, you need to go another way. When that sentry's gone, as soon as it's freshly gone, you know that they're not going to expect you to be there. So rush that way, attack that way, be somewhere where they don't expect. You want to always be shooting your enemy in the back. Even when you're a really successful scout, your odds are just so much better. You have to play the odds. When you're forced with nothing but to take on an entire squad of enemies, then that's when you do that, when you have no choice. But you always just want to make sure that you're playing smart and picking your opportunities. Like here, I see the soldier. He obviously needs to go back for health or go a different way. He turned around. I'm not going to bother him by shooting him and distracting him from retreating. But this heavy just is going full out, so I decide to heckle him, make him pick a way, and then I go the opposite way that he chooses to go, and I shoot him in the back. This example, I'm using the environment to stay alive. I'm not necessarily just going gung-ho crazy and jumping around all over the place and making myself an easy target. It's okay to not always be moving sometimes if you're constantly aware of your surroundings. In this example here, I see the heavy is in that top corner. I know that he's going to kill me if I expose myself. If I overexpose, I'm dead. So I choose to go another way, heckle, open the door again, heckle, see what they're presenting me with. Clearly I'm not given anything. I choose to go around and just pick people off from behind, and this presents me with a different opportunity. I see a soldier going this way. He doesn't expect me. He goes AFK for like 3 seconds. Regardless, I was going to win that because he had his back to me and my aim was on point that day. I take out the heavy. That was before a problem. Now that point is freed up. Now this medic is allowed to capture this point with whoever he's healing, and this enemy team is a lot less, you know, reinforced than they were before, and that makes my progress as a team a lot more efficient. And I'm just continuing seeing what the enemy team is giving me. I jump for the easy cap. I see that it's blocked. I'm getting shot by a sentry. I fake right. The soldier doesn't know where I'm going. He thinks I went away, and I deviate his attention, shoot him in the back, and go for the quick cap. And that's exactly what you want to do. It's not always going to be, if I would have forced that sentry, I would have just kept going. If I would have forced the heavy, I would have just died a long time ago, and I would have never gotten that clip. And that's what you need to remember as a scout. So just understand that the map is dynamic. It's always changing depending on the tools that are set down by the enemy team, by your team, like teleporters or sentry guns or dispensers. People hole up in different places. If there's snipers placed in a particular area, people avoid certain paths. You just need to understand that depending on the setup, the enemy setup, your setup, you're going to be allowed certain things, and you need to really be flexible to those things, and you need to cater to that. And that's when you're going to be successful. When you're patient and you're willing to see what you're given, that's when you're going to start racking in the kills. That's when you really put the enemy team in disarray. When you pick off their sniper, you pick off their medic, you pick off their soldier, their spy, etc., and then things just fall apart for them and go in your favor. So I hope this helped you guys out. I hope you found this interesting and entertaining. And if you guys have any questions, just comment, but leave a rating if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later. Catch you on the next episode. Peace out. This has been Jugs.